it's Michelle from the Scattered Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. Today is day 28 of Scraptember, and we have this wonderful sketch by Laura from Laura Alberts here on YouTube, and I am very excited to use this. I am loving this little grid pattern here, and I can't wait to see what I can come up with. I've got a bunch of papers picked out, have my pictures here and some embellishments that I'm wanting to use, so let's get started. For my background for this layout, I'm actually going to use this wood grain with all the gold on it, and I really like how it looks with these photos. So I'm excited, and I'm actually using it because when I was first going through this paper pad, it kind of intimidated me. But for my grid pattern, kind of large embellishment on the left hand side, I'm going to use this red tone on tone with the apples, and then I've sped this up a lot. I left it in because I kind of forgot to hit record when I had paused the video when I went to do something else and lost some of what I have done. And instead of having a really short video, I just left some of this in. So you could see all the patterns that I'm going to be using. And with this one, I wanted to make sure that I had some full florals. So I'm kind of trimming things down a little bit just so I can have these florals there. And then I'm going to trim this photo down from the 4x6 to make it a 4x4. Now the sketch calls for 2 3x4s, but I can't cut this one down to be 3x4. So we're going to have one bigger one and then one smaller one. And as much as I love this paper, I'm not really sure how I would ever use it because we don't have these kinds of trees where I live. At least I've not ever seen them, so I decided to use this as a background or a photo map for my photos. And at first I cut them about a ½ an inch bigger than my pictures, but I just don't like a really huge photo map, at least not right now. That might change in the future, but right now I still like just the small, kind of a 1/4 inch all the way around. And so now I am going to put this down, and at first I think I'm going to put it flat on the paper, but I remember a layout that I did with one of Shimelle's oh, what does she call it? The ones that she does on her YouTube channel, where she has the kind of like build your own kit. And in one of the layouts that she did, she had a paper like this on the side, and she lifted it up on some foam, and that I remembered that. So I'm like, oh, I want to give that a try. And then I have done it in the past, like I did it with her during that video. I'll find it and link it down below. And so this was like, oh, this is so much like that particular layout, so I decided to do that on this one as well, and I love how this turns out. So at first I had put down the ATG tape thinking that I was going to put it flat on my paper, but I end up having to turn this over and rubbing all that ATG off because it still would stick down. So then, now you probably could do this maybe like for an ocean page where your paper is kind of waving up and down, but I didn't want it for this one. I wanted it straight up. So I flipped it over and rubbed all that stuff off the back. And thankfully this particular ATG tape came up pretty easy. So now I've got all that done, and I'm decorating my little squares, and I've got some of my elements picked out. I have some some words here that I want to use, the harvest and blessings and fall. And then I have these, I want to say they're from Bo Bunny. They're like a really thick paper of those leaf skeletons. And then the wooden veneer are from Ellie's Studio. But I'm just kind of going through and figuring out where I want to put things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta put my title on here. So my cluster that I've got on the right hand side up under my photo, which I really like how that looks. I kind of wish I could have kept it that way, but it all changes because I remember, oh yeah, I gotta have a title. But until I remember that, I am playing around and trying to figure out where I want to put things. And I have these flowers that I am loving. I love the colors of these flowers. And I've kind of had my leaves like they were falling down. And then that's when I had to pause the video. And then I came back and forgot to unpause my recording. So now you can see here is my title. And it was in the way of my falling leaves cluster. So I'm having to kind of rethink and rearrange. And I spend a lot of time trying to figure out this cluster. And I kind of was getting a little irritated because I wanted so badly to use all of these elements. But now that I have my title down, it just didn't quite work. If I'd had a smaller title, I should have changed out that beauty if I wanted to keep like the falling leaves. But that's okay. I reworked it a little bit and I think that it turns out beautiful. So in the spirit of the layout that Shimelle had done, since she had raised up that left side of the paper, there's a little bit of a gap. So, and I tucked those leaves up underneath the gap there. And also I have lifted my photos up to be on the same level as my grid pattern. So now I've just got my leaves kind of falling down that the border of my raised up grid pattern there. And now I'm just going to go ahead and glue everything down because I've decided on where I want to put everything and what's going to actually land on the page. So I'm going to glue down my leaves here. And I'm thinking that things are looking kind of divided. You've got all this really sparkly, bright gold on the right side, and then in my eye, my grid is looking a little flat. Even though it's raised up off the page, it looks not quite like it belongs. So I'm going ahead and putting these enamel dots down, and while I'm thinking about how can I make this grid pattern look like it belongs on this layout, and one of the things that I'm enjoying doing right now is using 3 different colored enamel dots and alternating the small, medium, and large colors. It's like I have different little patterns of color, and that's why you'll see me put one down and put it back on the sheet, because I'm like, nope, I already have that color in that size dot, so I got to change it. So I got to switch them out. So I'm thinking, is there anywhere else I want? So again, trying to kind of bridge this gap right here, I put some enamel dots down, thinking I'm going to fill that in and it'll connect the two, but I don't like how that looks. So I'll pull that right back up. We'll just save those for another layout. And I probably could have put some flowers along that line, but instead what I decide to do is a lot of gold color shine. So I've got that all shaken up, and now I'm just going to go to town all over this grid with little splatters of this gold color shine. And I'm really getting low. I'm going to be sad when this bottle is completely empty. Because you can't get any more. But I do focus a lot on the seam, I guess you could say, between my raised up grid pattern and the background pattern. And I really think that having the gold splatters ties it all together. And I think that's it. Yep, that's all I do. So let's see, I'm going to lift it up for you to get a closer look, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out all the links below for everybody that is participating in Scraptember, and I will have that link to the Shimelle video that I was talking about for her layout, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!